Hmm. Good evening and salutations, my fans. Why does it seem like every day Sasha just continues to get worse and worse? Okay. You know, Willow should have just listened to Sasha. Willow came in and Sasha was like, I want a different nurse because I don't feel comfortable. This is not going to work out. And for some odd reason, Willow decided to sit there and try to give Sasha an olive branch, which was clearly a waste of her goddamn time. Because everything that came out of Sasha's mouth just came across as being a hypocrite and self-righteous. And in all reality, she had no room to judge. One of the things that she sat there and said was she started getting on her snippet saying, Did you take the kids to go see Michael? And first of all, it was like, if she did or she didn't, it's none of your goddamn business. Let's just be very, very clear. Those are hers and Michael's kids. They're not yours. So I don't even understand where the hell you actually get off asking that question in the first place. Second of all, okay, you want to sit there and play that game? When are you going to sit there and take Michael to sit there and see his child? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Because she's all sitting there judging her on that. But yet she doesn't want Michael nowhere near her child. I mean, if you leave it up to Sasha, you would sit there and think that she just got pregnant by herself. The whole thing from start to finish. Then she starts talking about how she made bad choices and everything like that, and sticking with Drew, and Drew is this, Drew is that. But the fact that she sat there and said, what did she say? Something along the lines of having no self respect. The same chick that was sitting there tearing up a journalist's car in front of cameras and everything like that, and all that. Made an absolute public spectacle of herself. And I know people can sit there and say, but there was different circumstances and stuff like that. The point is, you made an ass out of yourself. You don't have room to say, you're not qualified. First of all, the stuff that she was sitting there saying, you're not qualified to come at her sideways. Because, especially when it comes towards the kids, because you're a goddamn hypocrite. You want to talk about self respect? You took money from your kidnapper, the same person who kidnapped Jason, Anna, and Lucky, and you know all that. But yet you wouldn't sit there, yet you started sitting there bitching, complaining about Jason giving you money, Michael giving you money. And you really want to sit there and talk about self-respect? Like, I mean, I can't tell if I should just be laughing or just really annoyed with Sasha at this point. But I would definitely sit there and say her character just gets worse and worse and worse and worse as time goes on. Um, there's not really much to talk about the whole Chase in Brooklyn and Alexis scene. They're just getting advice on how to proceed with adopting for a baby. That's it. I mean, a child. Because I think they said that they were going to look for an older child, somebody that was close to Emily's age, for reasons. Um, then today he finally started to mellow up. I mean, not before he like unloaded on Jason, basically sitting there saying that you're a bad dad, that he was a bad father, and his lack of being there for his child, led to this whole thing. Giving Danny too much freedom and stuff like that, and just being an absentee dad has turned Danny doing reckless things that he did and essentially dragging Rocco with him. Now Lois came in, and Lois pretty much tried to make him feel better, but Jason was like, he does have a point. There were certain things he did sit there and say was beyond his control, but the point is, he did sit there and say that, when Danny was out there drinking and stuff like that, he was with Sonny, he needs to start doing things differently. So they both sit there thinking about getting out the mob. Tracy is asked by Curtis. I didn't really even understood the full conversation between Curtis and Tracy, but when Ned got there, bottom line, I think Curtis is like, listen, as much as I don't like Sonny sometimes and whatever, he's the better of the two. Tracy doesn't want to hear any of that. Tracy, in a sense, is kind of being an idiot about it because she's so emotionally angry and upset with Sonny that she does not understand. Unlike Sonny, Sitwell has no problems that they're going after her loved ones. None whatsoever. At some point, Lulu does get there after making Rocco and Danny clean the house and everything, and starts asking questions, these sneaky questions, with Ned about Lois's tour and everything like that. Just trying to get like a timeline and like maybe specific locations and stuff, because she's still sitting there snooping. She's still snooping. And of course, towards the end, Tracy comes over there, and it seems like in the previews, Tracy is they're trying to ask Lulu to drop the article. I don't think that she sit there and drop it. I don't. I know that she knows, and I know it's driving Brooklyn crazy. F Brooke feelings. F Brooklyn's feelings. It's not about her. She doesn't get to sit there and dictate her job and what she does. She's just gonna have to sit there and get over it. And Chase, I can't with him. Um, Now Danny does come to sit there and see Lulu. Lulu pretty much makes him repeat everything that wound up happening. He apologizes. He helps out Rocco, and she's a little bit more chill about it. I mean, don't get me wrong, she's not happy with Danny, but she understands that Danny's a child, and Rocco's a child. They're teens. They're gonna do stupid shit. And eventually, when Dante does come over, he's a lot more chill with Danny and Rocco does sit there and say, hey, listen, he didn't force me to drink. He didn't force me to do those shots. I did those shots. So don't take it on Danny. That's on me. And then after that, he pretty much, I think Lois comes along, maybe I think, and he disciplines them, but it's not like he was raging out on them. And realize, and here's something else, right? He kind of looked at it from a different perspective because he's an only child. And the only child, you kind of operate a little bit differently. And, so he just gave himself advice, just say, hey, listen, do better, whatever, take a break. And then he does apologize to Lois for, essentially just acting like a full blown dick. He does sit there and say, I acted out like that because I was scared and stuff. Lois apologizes too, which I'm just like, no, we're not doing this mutual apology bullshit. Everything that Lois said, yo, listen, you met everybody else. Where were you? Defending Gio, she didn't have anything to apologize as far as I'm concerned. Um, Now Sitwell and Jordan comes to Sonny's place, and they're kind of beating around the bush a little bit, but it does get to a point where Sitwell's like, I'll buy your peers. I'll buy out your peers. This way, you don't have to go to the whole legal battle. Um, He doesn't have to sit there and mess up things with Laura. And I don't know how I don't really understand how he said he was going to get it back, because he's going to pay more money to get that off of Sonny's hands. And Sonny's like, but I mean, they're still going to just tear it down and move it somewhere else. Some sort of convoluted story about how he's a gambling man or whatever. And we know he's a gambling man because we've seen him play cards with Lucky 5 days in a row. Long ass 5 days. But at some point, Sonny does seem like he is starting to get weak or you know, feel like he's in pain or whatever. Then he just cops it out. Oh, I'm just bored. Just get to the point. So he leaves, and Jason gets there, and Sonny's like, "Yeah, listen, I'm thinking about selling to him." You know, so you know, Tracy even tried to stop Ned from saying once again, listen, if you tell me that Sonny is the best of a bad situation, I'm gonna lose it. I was like, okay, girl, all right. It's one of those things where it's like, oh, and I almost forgot about Drew. So Drew said to put more pressure on Portia to perform, to sit there and say, hey, listen, you need to do what I say. Um, you need to sit there and kind of push for Boyles and stuff like that for being counsel and stuff. Now, a couple of things he does sit there and say is, even though Portia doesn't want to hear it, and she's like, oh, well, don't use my daughter's trauma as, at the end of the day, he's like, I want to get rid of Sonny. Okay? You gotta remember, Sonny was here, Cyrus was here, the whole you and your daughter being kidnapped. At the end of the day, he's like, I'm sitting there trying to make poor Charles safer. I don't know how safer he's trying to make it because he's working with Sitwell, but I mean, at least he gets. I was going to sit there and say at least he gets one person off the board, but in all reality, Sonny is a much better choice than Sitwell, so I can't even sit there and be like, bro, I can't. Like, I can't rock with that decision. I can't. But he does sit there and say, hey, listen, do it or else. And then when after Curtis is talking to Willow, because Willow thanked Curtis for not, being all slimy and scumbagish and whatever, you know, like some of the other tabloids did. Now she does sit there and try to get him to be like, hey, well, Drew took this test or whatever, and it said that the stuff was in the system, so you got to believe him. Now, Curtis used the same excuse, the reason why he didn't sit there and attack Drew so hard in the paper, because he doesn't want to seem like he's biased. But he can't just sit there and say, well, Drew said that, that he was drunk. So, obviously it's true. He can't sit there and say that either. He wants to be as unbiased as possible, no matter how much he doesn't like Drew. Then he goes to Portia, and Portia, I don't know, tries to get him to write something and look more favorable or whatever, like, oh well, maybe Drew was drugged or whatever. And Curtis was like, wow, almost sounds like you're telling me to back off or something. I mean, what are you doing? Now, it seems in the previews, you would think that Portia's going to just tell the truth, that Drew's blackmailing her, and that she has to do it. She has to sit there and get him to back off. I mean, at this point, you can tell the truth them or not and see what happens. But at the end of the day, she did what she did. So you can sit there and pull that trigger anytime he wants. And I mean, medical license is definitely going to be a bye-bye thing. There is no way around that. Oh, Sasha does sit there and catch up with Jason. And one of the things that Sasha sits there and says is, Willow told her that when she went to go try to visit Michael, that Michael was like, nah. Now, at some point, Jason's going to sit there and talk to Michael. Michael's going to sit there and tell her the truth. And then when Willow hears this, she'll be like, the hell is going on? I mean, that woman just sat there and said that Michael doesn't want to see me. And it would make sense because, you slept with his uncle. So, perfectly good reason to me. But when she finds out what Drew did, yeah, that's gonna be a bye bye. That's gonna be a bye bye. And I guess the question is, if Drew and Willow are done, so is she gonna be with the new Michael? I mean, you know, I don't know. I just think about cheating and infidelity and stuff like that, and I don't know. Now, I feel like that's about it. I feel like there might have been things here or there that I missed, but that is the general gist of the episode. Now, if I missed anything, you know what to do. Write in the comment section. Come to the live stream tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. We'll be sitting there talking about all 5 episodes. Um, as well as, obviously, this one. And, yeah, I'll see you in the next video.